The floods in Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina and Croatia have reminded us how important it is to be prepared for such situations. For this reason, UNICEF supports the education of children and builds up the capacity of the education system at large regarding the reduction of risks caused by natural hazards.
I think the whole of Montenegro has been moved and touched by the images we've received from Bosnia and Serbia of people whose world has really been turned upside down by the floods, and particularly children and the vulnerable. I think the first lesson that we learn is the importance of ensuring children's physical health is protected after a flood. It's very important that parents and other adults in their life remain strong and stable, because that's what will help children to cope with the trauma of that situation.
In 2013, the Montenegrin Bureau of Education and the Ministry of Interior's Directorate for Emergency Situations and Civil Security, in cooperation with UNICEF, started to implement an initiative entitled Emergency Preparedness, Response and Disaster Risk Reduction in Montenegro. The aim is to provide the necessary knowledge to pupils and teachers and explain how to act in order to reduce the impact of natural disaster. In 5 selected pilot schools in Ulcinj, Berane, Bar, Kotor and Podgorica, vulnerability risk assessments and action plans have been prepared by a group of experts in close cooperation and with the participation of children, teachers and parents.
Prethodnica svih ovih aktivnosti bilo je istraživanje koje smo proveli u 5 ovih škola sa učenicima i roditeljima, gdje smo htjeli da utvrdimo koje su njihove potrebe i konstatovali smo da je neophodno da se uvede neki program koji bi oni izučavali, to su učenici i roditelji u velikom procentu zaključili. Zatim da škole nisu na adekvatni način spremljene za vanredne situacije i da je isto jako važna stvar da se roditelji participiraju i aktivno uključe u preventivnom i interventnom djelovanju kada se dese neke vanredne situacije.
In the second phase of the initiative, a curriculum on natural hazards and disaster risk reduction has been developed for grades 4 to 9 and adopted by the National Council for Education. The preparedness and prevention plans, primarily developed for the 5 schools through this initiative, will hopefully be a model to be used by other schools in Montenegro. School administrations and teachers have already received precise instructions on how to proceed in the disaster risk reduction program.
Na tome nismo stali. Zavod za školstvo je u okviru redovnog procesa utvrđenja kvaliteta svih vaspitno-obrazovnih ustanova, pa prema tome i osnovnih škola, kontrolisati, nadzirati koliko se taj program primenjuje, koliko se obraća pažnja na njega i koliko učenici izučavaju te sadržaje.
The Disaster Risk Reduction Programme, which focuses primarily on the education sector, is enhancing national policies and capacities to better implement and integrate elements of risk reduction within existing education curricula and teacher training, as well as day-to-day management of schools.
Izuzetno je važno da se djecom, dakle od njihovog najranijeg uzrasta, razgovaramo o vanrednim situacijama i da podižemo njihov nivo znanja i svijesti na tu temu. Upravo ove vježbe evakuacije koje sam pomenuo, to je ono najkonkretnije, najedukativnije, zato što su tu djeca bile u prilici da vide koji je to način kad se desi zemljotres, šta najprije treba da rade, a to je treba da budu u nekom fetus položaju ispod klupe, pa kad se završi zemljotres da se postroje u kolonu po jedan, da čekaju ka izlaznim vratima, pa da onda uz koordinaciju nastavnika u odeljenju izađu svi vani. To je vrlo bitno i to su onako konkretne aktivnosti koje ćemo također realizovati u resursnim centrima i Domu Bijeloj kako bismo pokazali, dakle, određenom dijelu populacije kako se to konkretno preduzimaju mjere zaštite i spašanja.
In the past few weeks, UNICEF has been very active in response to the floods in Bosnia, Serbia and Croatia, providing vital equipment as part of the overall UN operational plan of support.
But we're also working here in Montenegro and in many of the neighbouring countries on building up the resilience and the strategy of the education sector and the social protection sector in partnership with the Ministry of Interior to ensure that they are well prepared, that teachers and other public sector professionals and children are trained and prepared of what to do in the event of an earthquake, or a flood or or any other type of natural disaster. They have systems in place that everybody's aware of, so if something happens, everybody knows what to do and what their role is, and that all of that knowledge is taken back into the communities that those schools and other public service institutions serve, so the wider community can be aware of what to do in the event of a natural disaster to protect children, their families, and the wider community.
In 2014, disaster risk reduction work will focus on the most vulnerable children, children with disabilities and those residing in state care institutions. Risk assessments will be done for the 3 resource centres, the Home for Children Without Parental Care in Biela and the municipality of Berene, with special focus on Roma settlements.